Hey. Time for another out-of-this-world story from rSpace. My future wife cheated on me because a show about monogamy brainwashed her. I dumped her. I, 27 male, typically live and work overseas. I returned to the USA in 2019 to get a master's degree. While in work, I met a 24-year-old girl I'll call Wanda. Wanda had just ended a 3-year relationship 6 months before we met. She left him due to claims of physical and mental abuse as well as his infidelity. He cheated at least once on her. I also ended a relationship prior to our engagement, and so I did not think much of her past at the time. When Wanda and I met, we understood very quickly that we were very compatible with one another and would be a great team. This can be described as the usual OMG, everything is perfect about one another and we're soulmates sort of vibe. When we met, however, I explained to her that I'd have to leave her after 4 months to return back overseas for work. I had all my flights and hotels and etc. figured out. But when the time came to go, she begged me to stay and get into a serious relationship with her, telling me she'd like to get married and have children with me. Perhaps, since we were so compatible, the next year, if things continue to go well, we could get married. I have a tendency to abandon the girls I date, but I finally realized my dream, someone asking me to stay with her. I was thrilled. I canceled all my prior arrangements and stayed in the country to get serious with her. Things were ideal. We always worked out our problems immediately, avoiding all negative emotion, could talk about our feelings and struggles very calmly and with harmony. It was truly something special. Looking back at our old texts for the time, I read nothing else from her about how the relationship was her ideal and that I was a dreamlike partner for her. She would tell me on a daily basis how happy and in love she is, etc. When the time came for me to get an apartment in the USA, I got a 2-bedroom place with the intention to have her move in with me in the future. She was initially very hesitant on the matter, but after a few months of negotiation, she began to warm up to the idea. She started moving little things in here and there. While she was bringing things over, one day, she showed me a wedding ring that she wanted me to buy for her. I took the hint and started shopping. During the same week, a few significant events happened. My father told me that he was dying, and my school sent me a notice that they'd expel me for starters. Second, her and I had a conversation about some mythological story about a failed relationship which made her very upset, but she wouldn't tell me why. The next day, we had a party for my birthday. My best friend brought over edibles for everyone. As one does while on edibles, we all got horribly screwed in the head. I had some sort of seizure and panic attack for several hours, while my best friend screamed at me for not allowing him to do more drugs, whereas my girlfriend had a more internally existential experience. My friend group and I realized the aforementioned best friend likely has a drug addiction, and I held an intervention which failed completely. I lost my best friend as a result. It was then that I stopped sleeping entirely due to stress. In the middle of the week, my girlfriend was supposed to come over and cook us dinner, but decided to stay home. This was very odd as she was literally driving to my home and then stopped halfway, claiming that she was battling demons. Obviously, not a good sign, so I rushed over with some cheesecake to see if I could calm her down and talk about her feelings. She was extremely closed off and wouldn't talk to me at all. She then gave me a very long, very sad hug and said she needed some time alone to think for a few days. Obviously, I needed massive help in my life at the moment, but decided to give her space because I didn't want to push her away or put any of my crazy life stress onto her. She then basically avoided me for 2 weeks, the first of which we spoke exclusively over the phone. The second, she flew to a different part of the country with friends for vacation and to model on a popular talk show with millions of viewers along with some of her friends. At this point, I have not slept in 9 total days. My life is on fire. On the plus side, I finally found a ring I wanted to buy her. As I was buying this ring, she sent me a text with a link to this talk show, telling me how upset the show made her because the hosts were incompetent. It was at this time I put my credit card back in my pocket to watch the show. The entire show, she talked about the importance of marriage, monogamy, and how she wanted to get into a serious, long-term committed relationship of which she was presently not in due to the tyrannical abuse of her previous partner, the one prior to me. Huh? Obviously, I did not buy the ring, and obviously, I continued another 2 weeks into sleeplessness. Eventually, she returned to the area, and I went over to her house multiple times to try and console her, talking about her past traumas, reassuring that we are in fact in a relationship and that it's a mighty good one, especially since she asked me to both stay in the country and to get her a ring. She told me a lot about the abuse of her past relationship from her parents and her ex, how she lost more of her friends because of the ex, and how she would be regularly beaten by people that got close to her. Every time we were in the same room, she'd talk to me, calm down, tell me we were okay, say that she loved me, and was so happy to be together. Seconds after I would leave, She'd return to a panic and keep trying to tell me she couldn't be in a relationship anymore. We'd repeat this cycle for the next few days until she just kept texting me, "I can't," over and over. Eventually, I called her over to my house to break up and give back our things. I was devastated. She was crying so hard, as she walked in she could barely stand. I sat her down and asked how long she had been cheating on me. I believe her side of the story is that she blocked the ex for good, the day I decided to cancel my flights and remain in the country for her. Some time ago, I told her this mythological story and it made her think that it was her fault she couldn't stop him from abusing her, so she reached out to him to apologize. He reached out to her on the day after my birthday, and then, after I came over with the cheesecake the one night, came over and forcibly had sex with her, which she also wanted. She then lied to all her friends about the situation to cover the cheating, saying she broke up with me because she's not ready for a serious relationship right now. I forgave her for these transgressions and confirmed that we'd work through all our problems, get therapy, whatever was needed. She apologized profusely and agreed to stay together. She told me that the reason she cheated and lied about it was, "I wanted to take away everything I ever wanted so I could hurt myself." What? What I found stranger yet was that her immediate response after I forgave her was that she said she desperately wanted to move in together and kept bringing up how very much she wanted this. We then worked out a plan on how she can repent and move forward, and then spent the day together. We hooked up several times and made dinner. It was nice. Upon the third or fourth time having sex, she got a call from her dad. She said that she would tell him that we were together for the first time, they don't talk much, and that she'll be moving in with me. While on the phone, she looks at me the entire time directly in the eyes, makes no mention of me to her father, and then tells him she'll be moving into one of his rental properties next week. Huh? Immediately after this phone call, she starts crying again. She begs me profusely to murder her ex-boyfriend. At this point, I'm convinced that these must be hallucinations brought on by sleep deprivation, but I know these events to be true. Her phone rings. It's the ex. I answer and have a chat with the guy, while she runs off to the other room and has a panic attack. We chat. I got some info from him that they were together for about 3 years until she left him about 6 months ago, but they are back together now as of a week or so ago. I suggested that she was together with me, and he did not like that answer. I hung up on him and tried talking things through with the girlfriend like, "Hey, I figured telling him to screw off might be a healthier response than doing something drastic like murder. How was that?" She then proceeded to say, "You saved my life," over and over, and how thankful she was that he was finally gone from her life. I was so confused at this point from the craziness of the situation and my sleep deprivation that I passed out. I woke up an hour later to her having another panic attack. My body is so weak I can barely move, but use the remainder of my energy to calm her down. I then pass out again. Eventually, I woke up to her taking all of her things out of my house and telling me, "I'm going to my sister's." We all know what that means. I didn't have enough energy to stand, but I managed to crawl over to her and mutter something like, "You don't have to do this to yourself. You can just walk away." The last thing I remember is her leaving. Eventually, I got enough strength to move properly and I drove to her sister's place. Her car isn't there and she won't respond to my call. I left her a voicemail in which I said how upset I was that she'd leave me for the dude after trying so hard to work things out, and confirmed again that we will find a way to work things out between us. The next morning, she laments saying how he'll never talk to me again, and that she's going to kill herself. I literally have no idea what the F is happening, so I just stopped talking to her. The day after, she sends a text about how she'll love me for the remainder of my life and that we're soulmates and perfect for each other, but she just can't right now. I try coming over to work things out, but she literally runs away from her house in a panic. That was the last time I saw her. To this day, I have no idea what happened. It's been 6 months and I can barely sleep 5 hours a night at my best. I have never stayed in the country for any girl for any reason. I very much want to work things out with this girl. I contacted her once or twice over the past 6 months, but got little more than a, "You're perfect and did everything right, but I can't be with you because I'm back with him." I reached out to her friends for some advice as to how to work things out with her, but they said while she does love me, she's just not ready for a relationship right now. To which I realized she told no one in her life that she and the other dude are together, likely because the friends would leave her. They hate the dude even more than me. I've been constantly sticking to no contact, hoping that it would bring her back. It hasn't. It will be our anniversary next week and I want to reach out again. I know it will be futile, but I want to try anyway. Should I reach out again or wait maybe a year or so for her to hopefully return to me? Also, what did I do to lose this girl? Was it because I didn't beat her? Do I have to be violent to keep a girl around? I very much don't want to be a horrible person to maintain a relationship, but I feel I have no other choice. Was this my fault? I have no idea how to move forward. Any advice would be appreciated. Thank you. 2 notes. A. Specifically her words. I wanted to take away everything I ever wanted so I could hurt myself. Often echo in my head. What might they mean? Any ideas? B. She's consistently blocked and unblocked me from various platforms of social media for the past 6 months. What might that imply? Our reactions from the community start off with Mockingbird82. So much to unpack here. 1. She was using you to get over her ex. What she should have been doing was going to therapy. 2. Somehow she manipulated you into having to prove your love for her by staying in the country and buying her a ring. She got you to pursue her. You agreed. 3. Meanwhile, she's still talking to her ex. She's probably telling him all these nice things you've done for her. She was using you to manipulate him. 4. You didn't vet her long enough. I'm sure her sob story about being a victim brought out the urge to protect. Don't get me wrong, I'm sure her ex abused her, but she can't get over that by jumping headfirst into a new relationship before she completely untangles from the old. I would keep my distance from her and her hot mess. 5. While I think it was trash of her to treat you the way she did, I also think you are mistaken about something. You are not entitled to a serious relationship just because you decided to be nice to someone. Those women before that you were awful to, were they not nice to you? Yet you rejected and pushed them away. There's an irony here and a lesson to learn. I don't mean to be mean, but you need to process this before you try again. And for the love of God, don't try with any of your exes, especially this most recent one. In addition to being nicer to people, you need to slow things down and look for signs that they are relationship material. A quick thought from Springfield XD45. Why would you want her back? It seems to me that both of you have serious issues to resolve before you jump into any relationship of that nature. Let's give Cranach the final word. That kind of behavior is not uncommon for victims of abuse. Since she experienced abuse from her parents and her partner, she never experienced what love actually feels like. That takes care that in her brain, she needs the abuse to feel that she belongs to the person because people that were important to her abused her. So that must be normal, right? In the relationship with you, where she didn't get abused, she then felt unsure. She loved it to experience love, but doubted if she means as much to you as she meant to her parents and ex. Because she meant so much to them as that they would abuse her while you didn't. By now, she is at a place where she needs the abuse to feel that she belongs to someone. This is a circle that many victims of long-term abuse experience. They trust the abuse more than the feeling of love or appreciation. With her parents and her ex, she knows what she gets. It is familiar. With you, she doesn't know what to expect, and that makes her feeling unsure. Sadly, there's nothing you can do to help her. She needs to seek out help on her own, and she needs a proper therapy to separate the feeling of abuse from the feeling of love. She needs to learn that one can exist without the other. All you can do is to offer her help and to help her finding a therapist. But that's it. She herself needs to develop the desire to leave that behind and to go to therapy. I am sorry that you are in this position.